Welcome to the International Souls Podcast. Here, we have valuable conversations with leading experts in their field. I'm your host, Eric, and each week I sit down with people who dare to dream bigger, act braver, and build lives that inspire. You'll hear real stories, lessons learned, and expert insight from across industries and cultures, each one driven by purpose. This show is about leaving the good for the great, taking a leap of faith. Here we go. Guys, welcome back to the International Souls Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and today I'm sitting down with my brother and a longtime friend, Carlos Fogelman, an entrepreneur to his core, a creator who's been building brands and adding value as long as I've known you. From designing iconic streetwear with Hip and Bone to blending ancient superfood and modern wellness with Alchemy elements, Carlos embodied creativity in motion. He's a marketing architect, obsessed with understanding human behaviors, storytelling, and what truly connects people to products. After recently spending several months living in Morocco with his family and returning to Montreal, his perspective on business, lifestyle, and purpose has evolved in a powerful way. And this episode, guys, this is all about creation today, evolution, branding, and what it truly means to design a life and a business that is aligned with your soul. Carlos, man, I'm so happy to be here with you. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Power intro. Thanks for having me, man. Nice summary. It's nice to be here today with you, man. And it's always nice to connect with you, to chat with you. One of the last talks that we had that was deep and meaningful, it was you and I walking on the beach in Mexico and Tulum.
Tulum, yeah, that's right.
And we were both with our families and you pulled me away and you're like, man, let's go have a man walk.
Yeah,
and that was
talk,
nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. Yeah. And you mentioned one thing during that walk, which was one thing stuck with me was the fact that you suggested having always these kind of walks with your significant other, with your lady, with your girlfriend, with your wife, and how the act of being in motion can change the dynamic of a conversation. And that is very true. And I still think about that till today, because when you're in an apartment or you're in a closed setting and you have these talks, it's a very different energy than being in nature. No?
Totally true.
So thanks for that moment.
Man, good reminder. I appreciate you sharing that again, because we just came back, Dominic and I, from a walk and talk. We have our place here. It's in Oka, like in the mountains, and it was such a beautiful walk during fall. Have you started to actually implement those walk and talk with your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, things layer up as life evolves, and kind of remembering the fundamentals of that can make your life a little bit smoother, easier is always challenging. But for sure, we've implemented that a bit. And I guess it's not just the being in nature, it's having, like you said, the weekly check-in, you know? So like making that a priority, which I'm guilty of not always having. But I will. And life is a constant evolution. So having you here is a kind reminder that I have to always implement the things that are important to me.
That's beautiful. Let me ask you this then. Would you implement those walking talks and our weekly check-in also with your business partner? I think his name is it Derek or Eric?
Derek,
yeah?
Yeah.
Would that also be important to use that in a business aspect?
100%. And I think previous experiences in other businesses have shown me that not having that is a recipe for failure. Yeah. So I believe not only in weekly check-ins on a Monday, I believe in weekly wrap-ups on a Friday.
I see.
Yeah. I think those are super important because it's very easy to discuss things on a Monday and then come Thursday, Friday, what happened to that? Like, did you call? Did you fill up those documents? Did you make that application? You know, like, where are we? You know, so there has to be some kind of check-in as well, you know? So yeah, I think it's super important. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I like that wrap up Friday. Yeah.
It adds some accountability. Because, you know, we could all become professionals at talking. But like,
True.
like I had a meeting this morning and it was precisely about this. It was like right now, part of our business is surrounding ourselves with people that we believe can do the best work possible in the areas that we can't. But like sometimes we encounter people that are very good at talking and they'll
Yeah.
keep us in meetings
Yep.
that are 1 hour long. But what happens next?
Draining.
Like
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
want these 1 hour meetings in my life
Sure.
anymore,
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a big conversation as well.
Man, I feel like we can talk about that for a while. I mean, we also have two businesses, and there's a lot of times where we would love to enhance our expertise in one area, and then we have this
Yeah,
conversation with an outside agency or outside, well, let's say marketing agency, or and then 6 months later, there's just no,
yeah,
no delivery, and
yeah,
I think it's quite hard, but
yeah,
let's dive a little bit here because I mean, I have so many questions. Before we go
yeah,
into the entrepreneurship and creative, and we've met over a decade ago through your first, I mean, at least your first brand that I've known, which is Sip
yeah,
and Bone. I want to know, just
yeah.
before we deep dive, you just came back from Morocco.
Hmm.
You lived there for, was it like 6 months or was it a
A
year? How
year.
long? A year?
Yeah.
Full year?
Hmm.
Wow. Can't believe
Full
it's been a
year.
year already. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Wow.
Because people who
Yeah.
think about living abroad, expat, especially down now, you have, with your daughter, you have online businesses. Why Morocco? Why did you decide to leave your comfort zone? And then what happened over there? Like, how was the lifestyle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a big question.
it's a big one.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's several things here. So I guess we noticed at a point that by the way, does this have editing? Because there's a bit of noise going on here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do my best with
I'm gonna see if I could do something about this noise. If we could just jump back into this question in a second though. Give
yeah,
me one second, okay?
you wanna
I'm
change
sorry about
environment,
that.
or it's fine.
I
But
might do that. I'm gonna ask, but if not, I'll
yeah,
change environments. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, if it's a
Okay, one
public
second.
space, I mean, okay, no worries.
Sorry about that. She was super nice. There's usually nobody here, so it's kind of weird. I
Yeah,
guess because today's raining, there's some people
yeah,
coming here.
I
But
get it.
so let's jump back into it, man.
Yep,
You were asking me about making the move to Morocco.
yeah,
Um, so we've been in Montreal. Well, I've been in Montreal for about 15 years, and Montreal is a spectacular city, man. Like beautiful, cultured, good-looking people, great food. The summer is spectacular. The contracts of having winter and being able to enjoy summer, I think, gives you like this thirst for summer that I think is incredible. But with time, I've also, maybe as I've gotten older and my priorities have shifted, I've also seen that there's parts of it that are very limiting. One of those, I would say that I started seeing it more during COVID, post COVID. Um, I My thoughts could get a bit controversial, but I'm going to put them out there. Um, I find that Quebec became very complacent. I saw a large population that instead of making decisions based on reason, were making decisions based on fear. I saw a lack of hunger to stand up for principles and values, and it just felt like I was disassociated from society. And instead of people coming together and embracing each other and showing love to each other and being neighborly and like fighting a good fight together, I felt like everything was based on distance. And it's not the people's fault necessarily. It's maybe media, it's maybe government, it's maybe a perfectly combined circumstance that brought people into this situation. And then if you couple that with rising prices of everything, um, taxes that are insane. 6 months of the year, you're basically no sunshine, which is one of the most important things in my life.
mm-hmm.
Like the signs were all there, and my wife has been living here many years, but she's Moroccan, and we
Okay,
started traveling a bit to Morocco. And during our travels, I started to pick up on several cues, one of them being slower life, people sitting down and having coffees together. While
Mm-hmm.
here, if you go to a great coffee shop, it's a lineup, you grab your coffee, you go, you know? And that being everywhere, you drive down the streets, there's just lineups of coffee places of men. And you could say maybe these guys don't work that much, but maybe they just value other things as much as they value work. And maybe they're not in this situation where you have a government breathing down your throat for half of everything you make,
Mm-hmm.
so that instead of half of your day being dedicated to a government, maybe 20-30% of your day is that, but then you get to enjoy time with people, with humans, bullshit, talk, laugh, you know? And it's the same with meals over there. Like, lunch is lunch, and my wife hates it if I miss lunch. You know, like, it was almost source of arguments for a bit, because in my mind I'm saying, hey, you want to have this life, you know, you want to be able to travel, to move, but you want me to be sitting here for an hour and a half to have lunch, you know? And that's part of her upbringing and her culture, and it's beautiful. Mm. When I take a step back now that I'm in Canada and my lunch is meal prepping something, putting it in a plate and kind of getting my day going, I see how beautiful those moments are, you
Mm.
know, where I could laugh, I could play with my daughter, you know, we could recount the funny things she did this morning or what we saw, you know, and I feel like we miss that in local culture. And so when we started traveling to Morocco a lot, I noticed that for once. And I also noticed that real estate is much more affordable.
Mm.
And here we are having one baby. Um, we're blessed to have another one on the way. And to be in an apartment for 6 months with winter, with little sunshine, with a kid that's just dying to touch, to feel, to go, to run,
Mm.
that to me would have been torture. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, this clock started ticking. And I'm like, okay, you're either going to find a house that is very big in Montreal or surrounding areas, or you're going to have to find something somewhere else. And as much as I checked Montreal, yes, there's some beautiful properties up north. There's some beautiful stuff in the eastern townships. I didn't want to be that secluded, and we still have winter, and prices compared to what you're going to find in other places are still going to be much, much higher. So one night I was just browsing online and I saw a house by one of my favorite architects who happened to pass away recently, and he did very limited projects. And I say to my wife, I'm like, baby, look at this crazy ass house. And she's like, well, you wouldn't believe it. It's actually in Marrakesh. So we loved it. We sent them a message. Funny enough, the week after we went to dinner with some friends, and one of our friends happened to know the director of the Bank of Morocco here in Montreal.
Mm.
And he's like, you know, if you guys ever want to buy something, this guy's been doing special programs for Moroccans like your wife who intend to return to Morocco. There's special programs right now. And so, like, all the chips started aligning, you know, and I couldn't ignore the signs. So we made an offer. It was super challenging. The whole process of buying a house overseas is a whole other conversation. Super, super challenging. We missed the first house. We ended up finding the neighbors. I had to look on Airbnb if there's any houses around and message every owner to ask if they wanted to sell, because we were 3 months away from moving and the first house fell through. And finally, we ended up closing on the house that we wanted, even better than the first house. And we just packed everything, man. We packed everything into like 8 duffel bags and flew with our baby, with our dog, arrived to her parents' house. And we didn't have the house for the first 3-4 weeks. So we had to be in her parents' house, which was nice. It was a nice transition, a nice family vibes, which I missed here too, because I feel like here we didn't have that, you know, at all. And having family to help you with a kid, I feel like is super key. And we finally got the house, and it's now been a year since we have it. And huge change, huge change.
Oh,
Wow. For
congrats on
me,
the
culturally,
congrats, man.
huge change. Thank you.
Really? Yeah, I'm super. I mean, I didn't know this whole story, so I didn't know you guys
Yeah.
like actually bought a house and did the whole process. It's great that
Yeah.
there's programs, because it's not always like that when you want to buy overseas, even though it seems like it was
For
a bit of a
sure.
headache, but that program must have helped, in terms of
Yeah.
financing. But so how did, let me ask you this, did it took you a bit of time to arrive, um, arrive to that level of, for your nervous system to just like, okay, let's slow down, let's be here versus kind of in this go mentality here in Montreal? Or did you saw a shift, or it was quite like Marrakesh? Is it quite like a fast-paced city?
Man, emotions were everywhere all the time. Like I think moving is one of the most intense things in the world.
Yeah, it is.
I
Yeah.
think moving your entire family to a place like that is super intense. And I remember during the months of like packing and getting organized and not being sure if we had the house, that there was a lot of tension in our home, between
Mm,
me and wifey. Yes, we're aligned in wanting this, but
sure.
every time there was something on our way, like the bank missing a document, or we needed to get the special insurance, or we needed to find a shipping company and we couldn't find somebody, there was always these tensions, always. And
Mm,
I could say that that exact same feeling that we would go through in that move is feelings that I go through every day in building my business. Nonstop barriers. It's like you're a ninja and you just have to like karate chop through all this craziness that's going to be thrown at you. And almost the fact that this stuff is getting thrown at you and that things are challenging is almost what makes it worth it.
mm,
And in the moment you think it sucks and you're stressed, and stress is a forever subject that we need to learn how to manage. As much as the stress happens, in the end, you kind of look back at it and you're like, that was a hell of an adventure.
yeah.
What a crazy adventure we just went through, and makes the house and the move so much more valuable. Because if things would have come easy to you, it wouldn't be the same. You'd be willing to give that up at any second, it wouldn't be the same kind of glory at the end. So moving there, once we're there, um, still feelings, one, like I remember the first day I went into our swimming pool, I'm like, yo, I can't believe I own a swimming pool. you know like, look at these palm trees next to my swimming pool, like pinch me now, you know but then there's other challenges, man, and it's like, okay, now we have to adapt to this life. Now I no longer have, like, I can't get in my elevator in my building and bullshit with people in the same language. I'm in this beautiful house, I'm a bit more secluded. People don't speak the same language. I don't have that walking around and seeing like people in the same kind of culture and fashion that I'm used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a Muslim country, so very different culture. And I noticed myself feeling a bit of anxiety, you know, the first 3, 4 months, like out of place, like a bit anxiety. And actually one thing that I ended up pinning on my anxiety, which is so simple, man, like we're such simple humans at the end of the day, is I was drinking coffee in Morocco, and Moroccans happen to drink the craziest fucking coffee in the world. And it's black Arabica dark roast coffee. And I was loving it because every corner there's like a 50-cent cappuccino that is delicious. And I'm banging these down like 3 a day. And I'm noticing I'm getting jittery and anxious. And I'm like, baby, what is going on? Like, I'm anxious. I don't know if it's the move. I don't know if I'm just feeling out of place. Like, maybe I need to go back home for a bit. And I realized that a lot of it was the coffee. It was not getting into my routine of working out in the morning as the first thing, like priming the body. Because during a move, in many cases, during many seasons of your life, you're probably the most disciplined human I know. So you're an exception. Uh, but during many moves in your life, you might fall out of your habits that make you feel good.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
when you move into a new house and you're unpacking and you're trying to make sure your internet is working well so you could run your business, and you're waking up in the morning and it's not the same time zone as your business anymore. And you're just trying to find all these placements. I still didn't find a good gym. All the gyms were 30 minutes away from me. So I wasn't in the routine yet. I wasn't in my diet yet. So like I do believe that as humans, if we want to be efficient in our business, in our relationships, or as men or even women, we need to have some kind of priming in our
Mm,
life,
mm-hmm.
non-negotiables that get us to the point of being social and being normal and not being so reactive, you know? So, and I learned that even though I had already learned that, I knew this, I had these tools,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm so engulfed in all these other changes that these tools kind of fell into the background, you know? And it took me a good 4 or 5 months to kind of get back to my rhythm.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the diet, man, like, like in Morocco, like we were saying earlier, like a meal is an event, and when they serve lunch, they're serving you like a huge plate in the center of the table with like some salads. And instead, here in Canada, when I serve myself a lunch, especially like busy days like this, I'm serving myself a little plate. That's my meal. I eat it. I'm back into my flow, back into work, back into progressing. Over there, it's like, okay, they serve this huge thing in the middle. You serve yourself a plate. You're bullshitting with your family. You're having a good time. You're like, okay, let's have a little bit more, because there's this huge thing in the middle. And next thing you know, you're sitting there for an hour. You're maybe eating more than you would normally eat, which then triggers you to be in a digestive mode, which then triggers your body to dedicate energy to other things, not business, you know? And it's just like things end up piling up and they compound, little decisions throughout your day will end up compounding, you know? So yeah, having those kind of non-negotiables, I think helped a lot to get back into the right flow of things. And yes, it got better. There's incredible things about living in Morocco, you know, the meals, the people, how friendly everybody is. Everything's like family, everything's friendly, kind, smiley, I feel that's a huge contrast here in Quebec, like yesterday I went into the gym here in the building and some lady was just instantly in a horrible mood. And I feel like you don't experience so much of that bad moodness in countries like that. Like people have like this joy of life, you know? And all this could be reassociated to many things. It could be
Yeah.
reassociated to government pressure, to news, to all this kind of stuff that we're exposed to that kind of is building hate and resentment in people, you know? So I feel that's a huge contrast. How happy people are there, you know? Maybe having less, but having more family, having
Mm-hmm.
more family values, more grounding, more sunshine, more meals with fam, more friends, more time for self. I think that's a huge contrast. Huge contrast and very valuable to see that. So yeah, till today I'm still adjusting. I can't tell you that that is my ultimate life. I can't tell you that that's my ultimate destination. Um, but I could say that it's been a beautiful adventure and perhaps it's been an incredible investment financially because I think Morocco is an incredible place to invest. They have the Africa Cup coming, the World Cup coming, huge tourism. Um, just an incredible place, growing infrastructure, growing excellent transportation, highways, trains. I mean, I just took the train last week. I was at a trade show in Toronto and I took the train back from Toronto to Montreal and I couldn't figure out how ghetto this train was, man.
I took that
This
right.
was one of the most ghetto experiences I've had in the world. And we're in Canada, my brother. This train was shaking from side to side. The guy comes by offering drinks and food. And I'm like, can I please get a bottle of water? He was on this third cart. He's like, I'm sorry, we ran out of water. And I'm like, man, we're on a 5, 6 hour train ride. How can you not have water? So yeah, Canada's interesting, man. And with all these taxes we pay, it's pretty nuts. We can't get a decent fast train. Um, yeah, a lot to
Amazing,
ponder
man.
on here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's appreciate here because Man, moving out like out of town, especially with a family and buying places, it's definitely a process. It's easier to have the vision and like, oh, I want to do that and actually executing. And there's a lot of things that happens behind the scene. It can create tension, like you said, in the couple. And on a
Yeah,
personal note, I think you get to know who you are in those situations, and there's a lot of valuable lessons. And you kind of refer some of those lessons to the business. And if I may, because I've known you for several years, and
yeah,
you've always been in business. Like I've never like known you to work with for someone, and it's been
yeah.
I think it's like 14, 15 years now. So have you? Let's go into your like entrepreneurship. Have you always been like just rooted entrepreneur at heart? Was it your parents? Where does that come from? And what was your first business idea that you just decided to let's do it. Let's start something.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So I come from a father who was very intense. He was bipolar. He everything was with intensity. And for him, for us to be independent was one of his key lessons. So
Mm,
I remember when I was 8 years old, he would make us go to the bank and cash the checks and balance the checkbook. And he would wake us up when I was 11, 12. He would wake me up. His business used to start very early. So he was wake us up at 4:30 a.m. to be at the office at 5:30 a.m. on weekends. Just intense. And I would hate it. I would hate it. Just everything was with intensity. You know, if we wanted to take on a sport, if we wanted to play, let's say I wanted to play guitar, he would like make sure that I did it to the fullest, you know? And if I had to summarize how I am today in business, I would use one word, and I would use the word relentless. Um, and I'll apply it to anything. I just don't give up, man. If there's something that I want, I don't give up. You know, if I see it as something that is already could be mine, I just don't stop. And I feel like that was taught by him. And I was a terrible student in school, probably one of the worst. Just could not sit down in class. I was into drugs. I was at one point, my father didn't, I was living in Miami for most of my high school. My father didn't want me to live in Miami. He didn't support it. He thought it was a bad environment, so he cut me off. And so I needed money, and I sold marijuana, weed brownies in school, got caught, got kicked out of school, got
shit.
arrested. Yeah, yeah, pretty bad student. Ended up buying my high school degree from a little shopping mall
No
school in
way.
Miami.
What?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because he basically at that point told me, he's like, you got two options. You either go to university in Canada, because he was Canadian, and I guess there's a good benefit financially to going to university in Canada compared to the US. He's like,
For
I'm not
sure.
paying for your school in the States. Forget about that. So you could continue being the bum that you are right now. And so I needed to get a high school diploma, and I had gotten kicked out of high school. So I walked into this little shopping mall that said like graduate within a year or something like that. And she actually happened to be a Quebecer lady, older. And I ended up mingling with her after a few weeks to kind of get me that diploma quicker than later. And I applied to McGill, and Lord behold, I had a great GPA on my diploma and I got accepted into McGill.
No way.
Yeah, got
I've never
accepted
heard
to.
I've never
I
heard a
hope they
story like
never
that.
hear about this because they're gonna withdraw my diploma. But then the real challenge started because I came from not studying for 3, 4 years,
Yeah,
being a rebel in school, to now having to take calculus one, calculus two, you know, to get into business school. These are prereqs. And I just couldn't, man. I could not do it. I couldn't do it. I was messing up. I found it super hard. I had to get tutors. Um, man, I had to retake calculus too. At one point, I started taking Ritalin because I just couldn't focus. And that helped a lot, actually. That was a huge game changer. Nowadays, people take Vyvanse, which apparently everybody takes now.
yeah, I know.
And yeah, and I ended up graduating finally. Took me a
You
bit longer
did?
than usual.
Whoa.
I
Okay.
graduated, yeah, from business school. And then I started a business called 514 VIP. I was into going out, and in Miami they had like some kind of clubbing company, and 514 VIP was a card that we sold for $25 back then that get you into any club, no lineup, no cover, and that was great.
Really?
It's kind of started working, but it was a headache because you would have to kind of go to clubs every weekend to make sure that the staff, the bouncers would know what it is and they were
Mm-hmm.
accepting it. At one point, we got an offer to sell it, and it wasn't much money, and we sold it. And yeah, I kind of waited for my next adventure, and the next adventure was fashion, which I guess in my mind, I always wanted to be in something that was lifestyle related. Like at that point in my life, I guess I liked the going out. Then I loved fashion. I loved the lure of fashion, the traveling, the designing, the meeting people like you. Remember the fashion show, the first
For
fashion
sure,
show
bro.
with Derek?
Yeah.
It was him walking out with two German shepherds. Remember that?
Yeah.
Crazy,
Dope
wearing a
outfit. Yeah.
military trench coat with leather sleeves.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
I
I'll
still
never
have that
forget that.
trench coat. The black version though, but I still have it.
You got to squeeze in that picture into this
Yeah,
podcast
well,
because that was
yeah.
so epic, and it was a great show. And I was doing with a good friend of mine, Frankie. He's still one of my best friends. And fashion evolved, like I feel like it was a great business because we got to meet people, we got to socialize like crazy, travel. The traveling was incredible. I mean, spend a ton of time in Asia, in Europe. I think we met again in
Oh.
China at one point. No?
We've
Did I
met
see you?
no
We,
we've met in
no.
we've no we haven't met in China, but I remember like we've met a
Okay.
few times in Montreal. Remember you also had like a um like crocodile farms or something like that in Colombia?
Yeah.
Is that yeah? And
Yeah.
that you're using the
We started,
skin?
yeah, we started using crocodiles to make bags,
Yeah, the
which
bags.
was, yeah, which was one thing that made the brand pretty popular is that suddenly we're making $8,000 bags that
Mm-hmm.
got attention from celebrities. So that helped grow the brand quite a bit. But to be honest with you, as
Yeah.
much as I managed that brand for maybe 12 years, um, it was never financially rewarding. It kind of always maintained itself. Even though it grew, even though we got into new stores, we opened stores in Asia at one point. It was, I feel like that's the world of fashion. And
Mm-hmm.
unless you're like an old school Ralph Lauren or you're one of these monster brands, I feel like fashion is just this cycle of constantly having to reinvent yourself, because you're having to make new collections every season, produce before you even launch the new collection. You're producing the next collection already. So it's like, and my dad used to laugh at me. He used to be like, congratulations, you got into the hardest business you could possibly ever get into,
Mm,
you know? Um, and he was right. It was super challenging, always needing cash flow, always cash flow issues. Uh, if for example this season your collection is not well designed, or if the fabrics are not great, or if the sizing is not great, or if people don't like the zippers, you failed. It's a failure. While now that I'm running a company that is a stable kind of like product that doesn't have to be changed because it's already perfected, I see how the beauty of this type of business,
mm,
where you perfect one SKU and you're not reinventing every 2, 3 months what you're going to sell. What a
mm-hmm.
headache. Every
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 months, you have to convince everybody that you have the coolest product in the world again.
Yeah.
You just thinking about it gives me anxiety again. So I would say that that was a huge, huge lesson. And if you could remarket yourself every 2, 3 months, then I think you could market almost anything after,
Mm.
you
So
know?
would that be the biggest skill that you brought from that era of like 10, 12 years in the design and clothing business to what you well in this business current, which we will talk about, which is Alchemy Elements? Would that be the biggest lessons and skills that you brought, you think, or is it, I don't know, like actually what it
No,
is?
there's too much there. There's too much to
Mm-hmm.
unpack, you know, like in one of the big things in fashion is that you're always producing. So sourcing was huge. Learning how to deal with overseas factories, learning how to handle shipping, customs, duties, storage, logistics, you know, warehouses, inventory. Um, I think that was a huge lesson in a fashion company. Marketing for sure, you know, so like I think that fashion teaches you how to have a very good eye for things that look good and things that don't. And I think that's a huge part of almost any business these days, because you have very few microseconds to look good in people's eyes, you know? So that bag has to look good. The mixing when you're about to consume it has to feel right, you know? The packaging has to be good. The website has to feel good. The pricing has to feel right to the segment, you know? When people ask me these days, what does it take for a business to be successful? I always say this, and I would say it's a beautifully orchestrated symphony where every instrument has to come together with all the other instruments so that this piece of art could sound beautifully, you know? Because if I have Alchemy and it's an incredible product, but the ad that you see is kind of cheesy, or the caption is not great, or once they actually click on the ad and they go to a website, the website doesn't flow well, doesn't give you the right information, it's not explaining properly, or the offer is not great, the price is not good, or the shipping takes too long, or it's too expensive, or once you receive it, the envelope looks kind of whack, it doesn't have a nice feel to it, or it doesn't blend nicely, then there's so many places where you could fail,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it was the same with fashion, you know, like with fashion, if the button wasn't good, if the sizing wasn't good, you know? So there's a lot of carry forward from that, that nowadays I know that all these little areas have to come together for this to work well,
Mm.
you know? And I see it every single day. Every single day I'm playing like orchestra, leader, ninja, karate chop, problem chopper. Straight up. Straight up. Just karate chopping this problem down. Last night we actually got another lawsuit, which is another story. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's that. I think that you have to think of your business as a symphony, man. And you can't think that you just need to come up with the best product. That is that is damaging thoughts for you. Everything has to come together for this to work,
I love
you
that. I
know?
mean, I have the privilege to have a lot of founders, CEOs, business people who on this podcast, also in my network, and the same the same conversation that I keep on receiving is like you call it the karate chop, but it's just
Yeah,
constant problem solving. Just not every
yeah,
month, just every single day.
yeah,
And that's just the truth about being an entrepreneur. But I think one thing that you have that will still make you successful in any way is that you're so resilient and that you just keep pushing through the chops and you just
yeah,
keep on getting better and better. And I salute you for that, because a lot of people will give up a long time ago, and the fact that you're just
yeah,
pushing and pushing, and I saw the growth, and I would love to talk about the product because I'm a consumer. I think it's great, and I don't put anything that I don't trust in my body.
yeah.
For those who don't know, I have it right here. For those who doesn't know, I mean, it's a bit banged up because I use it quite like often, and
You
the
karate
packaging is
chopping
really nice.
alchemy, bro?
I chopped it. So what is
Nice. That
alchemy?
shows it's been
Why should I?
used.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Right? Every
Nice.
morning, I put in my cappuccino. But for those who don't know, what's alchemy? Why should I use it? What is it for? What is it made from? And yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's make this a bit even deeper, man. When I finished fashion, I came from drinking, traveling, spending my time like socializing, meeting women, like just a life that wasn't the life I live now. And I knew that something was not balanced. I had also unfortunately lost my dad recently, so I was leaving this fashion world and I knew I needed to realign, to change, and as much as I was far tuned in one side, I knew that I grew up also with a very kind of grounded side, like as much as my dad was intense with business, he also believed in, he was one of the first investors in a spirulina farm in South America. He wanted to buy a water spring. And, I remember before
Mm.
he died, he said to me, like, if you take anything from what I'm leaving you, just know that I would want you to have a land where if one day shit hits the fan, you could grow your own vegetables, you could have your own water, I want you to have that. And so I knew that there was a grounding that I needed to find to come back to feeling better in my body. And throughout that, I went super deep into wellness. I had a full-time yoga instructor. I was using some of the money from the partial sale of the fashion brand to just invest in me, to come back to me, to feel better, to get rid of my anxiety, my need for concentration pills in university. And I needed to find a way to really figure me out. And I got into yoga, I got into meditation. I went to South America. I tried peyote, ayahuasca. I did the whole realm of self-discovery. And when I was back in Canada, I remembered that I was starting to mess around with mushrooms a little bit. I wanted to find something that could help me focus. Like, I've always lacked focus. I've always lacked energy throughout the day, and I needed to find a hack for this, man. Like, enough is enough, you know? How do people get through full days of working? Why am I having crashes? Why am I not feeling good? So I was tasting some other brands in the market. And funnily enough, this girl, Julie, said, there's this guy, Derek, who created a product called Alchemy, and he doesn't really commercialize it, but I think I could get you a bag. He believes in bartering. So I told her, I'm like, okay, maybe I could give him something from the fashion brand from Pip and Bone, a pair of sunglasses or something. Get me a bag, please. I would love to taste it. So got a bag, tasted it. Within a week, I felt a huge difference. I like zoomed into my life. Like suddenly when I take this, I could play out piece by piece of what I want to do with my day, which was a huge shift for me. Cause me at that point, I was just waking up and like, okay, like I know I got to take care of this thing, but like eventually I'll get it done today or throughout the week. And I found with this, I could open my laptop and not be in 20 different windows. I could suddenly like micro zoom into what I need to do and then move on to the next thing. And I I hunted him down. I'm like, yo,
Really?
somebody has to bring this to market because this is crazy. Like, and the taste was delicious. And so I managed to find him. Derek was not a social media guy. He barely even wears shoes. He's a grounding t-shirt in the forest guy. He loves to spend his time in the forest, which is beautiful. He's taught me
Yeah.
a lot about that. And I convinced him to let me invest, and I did. And it's been now 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And um the first year was challenging. Second year was explosive.
Really?
This year will be record breaking. And I would say that the best part of this is that people love it. People
Mm.
love the taste, they love the effects. And if you ask me what are the ingredients, what are the effects, it's a combination of 9 different adaptogens, mushrooms, and herbs. And what made Alchemy different is that he made it to be 10-to-1 concentration.
What's an
And
adaptogen? Just to like break it down, like just for those who
yeah,
don't know, adaptogen. What is it for? What is it?
yeah. So most adaptogens will have the effect of increasing your concentration, your focus. It could be an herb, it could be a mushroom, and it'll help you um, with time adapt, like the word says, to feeling a bit more, I guess, in tune with your brain. And it's actually been studied that mushrooms like lion's mane, chaga, are some of the only substances in the world that could help multiply brain cells. And here I was taking Vyvanse back in the days, which, if you ask me, it's like the pharma legal version of cocaine, you know, when there was all these beautiful other substances that I just was never exposed to because it's just not commercialized the way a pharma drug is. And yeah, what made Alchemy powerful is that he is a 10-to-1. He created a 10-to-1 blend, which basically takes 10 pounds of the substance to create 1 pound of the final Alchemy product. So you're really getting a kick mushrooms of adaptogens, and he designed it so that it's a balancing blend. So you're not getting too much of a kick. You're getting, like, for example, reishi is a calming, it's an antidepressive, he has an ingredient here called mucuna, which is known to have L-dopa, which is going to balance your mood. It's like the happy serotonin, so you're getting like this nice combination blend of what Derek believed should be your ultimate feeling throughout the day. Like he, when I talk to him, he tells me, hey, I'm like, yo, why did you do this? He's like, because I want people to make decisions from a place of calm, from a place of focus. Because when you're making decisions from a place of stress, of anxiety, you're not making the right decisions for your life. And we witnessed that even from the beginning of our call, like going for a walk and talking to your lady is very different than being in the same room where you guys just got into an argument and thinking that you're going to have a productive conversation, So his goal was to create that Zen mode so that you could tackle your day, that you're not crashing, you're not feeling jittery like I was feeling in Morocco with these coffees, more like, boom, let's tackle this. And it's been incredible to, one, have a partner that thinks that way. I've never had that, somebody who's so like connected to self, that's so powerful, because a person that's connected to self understands his mistakes, his strengths, his weaknesses. And so there's no bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like we come to each other straight up, I know what he's good at. He knows what I'm good at. We don't have to play with each other. We don't got to fake it.
Yeah.
We're both dosed up constantly on Alchemy, So I remember yesterday we got the email with a legal demand letter from one of our competitors, and it's intense, super intense. Most people will crumble at an email like that. And we look at each other, we laugh a little bit, and we're like, okay, let's tackle this one. We make ourselves a little drink and not alcohol, Alchemy, and we think of our plan of action, and we karate chop through this, man. So yeah, it's been an incredible experience, man, and it's been a product that changed my life, and it's so powerful to be able to give people the gift of feeling good. Like, I think I did it through clothing too, because clothing has, I would say, very powerful effects on people. Very, very powerful effects. And what you consume in terms of something like this also, So very rewarding, I find, and I couldn't think.
What's the main
Go
feedback
ahead.
you've been getting? Yeah. What's the main feedback you've been getting from people who are consuming it, let's say, regularly on a
Yeah.
more like a few days is great, but like on a regular basis, is it a common denominator that everyone just keeps on saying the same thing, or is it quite different experience for
Yeah.
everyone?
I would say calm energy. That's the two keywords. Yeah. For me, it's a lot of focus. For me personally, I feel super focused. Like, I would never imagine myself being able to accomplish as much as I accomplish these days. And that has been incredible. Incredible.
I want to ask you this about this product and like selling a product online, which personally I get bombarded every single day with so much product, like not just in terms
Yeah.
of, well, I mean, wellness product a lot,
Yeah.
product. How, like for someone who wants to start to sell something online, let's say you talked about spirulina. Let's say a spirulina product.
Yeah.
What would be like if you have a one or two advice for someone who wants to start and to be eventually successful? What would that advice be?
One or two advice.
Well, I mean, you can go obviously
Yeah.
there's more, but like the key, like
Yeah.
let's say with the start, like how would you start, and then what would be the second advice following that?
Would you start? Okay. So I would say really study what's out there and find your angle. Really find your angle. Find what's going to make you different from everybody else. Not just different, I would say probably even better. So if everybody's selling spirulina powder, then go out there and invent a spirulina chewing gum, that tastes better than all the other spirulina powders because spirulina powder tastes like ass. Yeah, straight up. Even though spirulina is incredible for you and it's actually one of the highest sources of protein that you could absorb, bioavailable protein that you could absorb. But yeah, find a different way of promoting it to people. And we're living now in a generation where consumers are, like you said, being bombarded by so much product that if you find an angle that makes it easy and almost like an instant decision for them, like a gum, then like boom, you're already covered a huge part of trying to be successful. And then the second thing that I would implement is the symphony concept. Package it right, price it right, photograph it right, make a dope website, make sure your ads are touching into people's emotions, you know? So one, I think that wraps it up really nicely. One, choose your angle. Two, symphony. That would be my method, you know? And I don't think it's a having a lot of money situation because Alchemy started with $15,000,
Really?
you know, and it'll hit several millions this year, only 2.5 years into it.
Of sales?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
All
yeah.
online or mostly
All
online?
online,
All online. Okay.
95% online.
Wow.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
directly on the website or through different supplement website? Like, do you have like a main channel?
90% is our own website.
Whoa.
Now we're
Okay.
doing Amazon,
Yeah.
but yeah, we started with nothing. And Derek comes from very humble beginnings. And, for the first year of growing Alchemy, uh, that just shows you what an incredible human he is. Derek was basically living in his room, which doubled as a pack and shipping
No
warehouse.
way.
And it got to the point, listen to this, it got to the point that it was so crazy that he had to exit his mattress from the bedroom and he had nowhere else to put it. He was living in a smaller place with his father and he would sleep on top of the boxes sometimes. And he wouldn't
Whoa.
tell me. He never told me,
Whoa.
never told me until like months later. And like I think I saw him complaining or stretching. I'm like, bro, you all right? And that's when he told me, and I'm like, okay, like, number one, you're a star, and like, I'm blessed to have you in my life. Um, but we need to fix this. Like, you need to be good,
Yeah.
and things evolve, and for his birthday last year, he upgraded from having the same car for 12 years to a brand new whip, like little things, and just the opportunity to grow a business like that with somebody like that is so beautiful. So beautiful, and the dedication, the relentlessness, and yeah, man, to add to this, choose your partners.
Yeah.
Choose your partners wisely in your marriage, in your business. Oof, such a big subject here. Huge subject.
I would love to talk about that. Honestly, I would love to
Yeah,
because it's again, met a few founders. Most will have business partner. My business partner is Dominique. I mean,
yeah,
that's a whole different topic, but
yeah,
choosing the right partner, I couldn't agree more. What do you look at? Because I like you started naturally by being a consumer, and then you were kind of chasing down Derek, and it happened. It kind of happened in a way organically,
yeah,
and you guys, kicked it off, but what are you specifically looking at a partner? You're looking someone who is kind of the opposite of who you are in terms of skills, or is it similar core values that at least you can build on that? Is that even important for
Yeah.
you? I feel like it is, but yeah, what's your process?
It's more it's the unmeasurables, bro. It's not the core skills so much because I feel like skills you could learn. It's the self analysis, self awareness, self improvement side of things. I think that is the ultimate and most important quality in a partner, and not just in business, but in a romantic relationship too. Because your wife could not know how to make your favorite meal. She might not know how to cook, but if she has the desire to make you that meal and to learn how to make it, then you're in the game, straight up. You know, you don't want to have to come in every day and be disappointed that she never wants to make it or that she doesn't want to learn to make it. You want her to realize that this is something important to you, valuable to you, and make her own decision to learn to make it. And what's more beautiful than that?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So, like,
I see.
Derek might not be the best negotiator in the world.
Yeah,
I might be a very good negotiator, but I don't need him to be the best negotiator. I need him to
exactly.
understand what I'm doing, to appreciate it. And if one day I need him to have enough of the will to want to jump into that role, you know, to be a strong man that he is and embrace it, embrace his
Mm,
weaknesses, embrace that there's a place to learn here and then tackle that. And I think that that is the ultimate requirement in any kind of partner brand. And I don't know
mm.
if you agree.
I mean, I feel like I mean maybe you got my when you said core skills doesn't really matter. I didn't mean core skill. I really meant core values. And in a way, yeah, in a way, that's I feel like that's how you kind of resumed it. It's more about the attitude than the qualification.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, because people can be professional, like you said, professional talkers and have all the qualification, but attitude is just completely shit. You know,
yeah,
you make it so hard on yourself when your partner is not aligned. I think the self-awareness is key. The more people can be self-aware, the more you can actually be accountable and work with integrity as well. So, which I feel
yeah,
like you have a lot in myself as well, and it's probably one of the reason why we actually get along so well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And I
yeah,
want to top it off with one final cherry on top, man.
yeah,
I've had bad partners.
yeah,
Let's not call them bad. Let's just call them not the right partners for me because they weren't bad people.
yeah.
They just weren't the right partners for me. And they could be successful in their own world, in their own thing, but it just didn't work out as us working together. And I remember that there's one thing that I always say to a partner when things are not flowing well. And that is, I want you to wake up tomorrow and run this business as if I didn't exist, because I feel like in partnerships, we could have the tendency of feeling like we have the comfort of a shoulder to lean on, and like it's okay, like maybe he's gonna take care of it, or
Yeah.
he's gonna call, or he's gonna deal with the accountant, or he's gonna take care of that bill, or it's not my responsibility. He's better at it, like that is the worst
Mm,
situation you could be in. The best situation is if you wake up and if you have to pretend, pretend. But I don't think you have to pretend because it is the reality. Like you're as equally responsible as your partner is. Wake up and put all these problems on yourself and attack them straight up. Don't think that your partner has a better thing to say. Y- Yes, you could do that when things are flowing well between you guys. But if things are not evolving and things are not flowing and you feel yourself at a standstill, act like this is your day and you're only the only person that could tackle this straight up,
mm,
you know?
yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's
because
great.
at one point during all this transition before Alchemy, when I was just going to start Alchemy, it was the head of COVID, and we started I mean, my wife and I didn't understand this whole craziness that was happening, so we did escape Montreal for a bit. And while we were away, we noticed that there was COVID testing clinics all over the U.S. and there's all these kind of people running COVID testing, and my wife and I came back here and we noticed that there was only one guy doing COVID testing. And we weren't in agreement with the way things were being managed in terms of the, I say, hyper political environment behind it. And we're like, okay, let's call this guy and let's ask him if we could open a different location. And he said, well, why do I need you? If this is already a successful business, I don't need you. And I said, okay, well, with all due respect, don't come back at me if tomorrow you see me open up my own COVID testing business, because I did try to approach you to do this together. And within 3 weeks, we had opened our own COVID testing business. And within 2 months, we had 3 locations. And it was just nuts. It was nuts. It was 5 months of complete craziness. And we were 3 partners in the business. And sometimes when things needed to get done, one partner would say, well, he should do it, they should do it, he should do it. I've been working more, he's been working more. And nobody in this mix was a bad person. Just not the right dynamic. Not the right dynamic. The best partnership is, like I said, like almost take it on yourself, like if there's a problem, just go, go, go,
Yeah.
go. Especially if you know you could tackle it.
Yeah.
Don't start pointing at somebody else that could do it because you did more, or you slept less, or you have a baby, or like there's so much room to make excuses in this world,
Mm,
but then you're not a karate problem chopping ninja, bro.
for sure.
you know
Yeah.
I'm gonna call a book that.
Yeah, you probably
But
should.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
how I
cool,
want to
man.
wrap up that business partner
Yeah,
subject.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that. I have one more question for you, and then we'll light it down with like cool it down with a few rapid questions. Okay, so this is a question I really like to ask on this podcast: is if you could give your younger self an advice, let's say 18, 19 years old Carlos, probably arriving in Montreal for Miguel or like transitioning from Miami, what would be that one advice with everything that you've lived so far?
yeah. I think the first thing that could come to my mind is maybe just be closer to people you love.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say that
What does that
because
mean?
like
Like nourishing those relationships, or what do you mean?
nourishing relationships with people you care for or are going to keep for a long time, like I feel like when we're young, we think sometimes that some things are always going to be there or are replaceable, and so like maybe I could have spent more quality time with my father, for example, who's no longer with me, or with a great friend that now I don't get to see that often because he has his life, his business, his family, you know? It's like
It's like,
that time is so beautiful, not having these crazy responsibilities that we have these days that stops us from having that liberty of brain. By the way, it's echoing a lot.
is it? Okay, 1 second. Sorry, brother. 1 second,
Yeah, those
Carlos.
ears were getting sweaty.
No, my my headphones just decided to completely shut down, which it never happened before. I'm just gonna do something here. So let's say see recording noise reduction. Those headphones are getting sweaty.
I don't know how you work out with
Golly.
those, man. I see you sometimes in your workout
I do.
videos.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
always
do it,
always work
man?
out.
My ears get like so hot. It's like my ears are in a sauna, bro.
We're gonna cut this out. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that
No
my
stress.
headphones were actually using power while I was plugged. Let's see if this works. Speakers. Go ahead,
You might
Carlos.
have to chop. Yeah, you might have to chop out the little piece about people working jobs, bro.
Well,
No stress, bro. Take your time. I'm catching up on emails and text messages.
okay. Comme ça. Okay. Are we?
We're good. You hear me? You
Come
hear
on,
me?
bro.
Okay. Okay. No, I think his microphone or his headphones died out, but he's coming back.
I can't hear you.
You don't hear me?
Is this happening? Okay. Okay, we're back.
You hear me?
Yep. Sorry about
You
that.
hear? Yeah?
Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Now I know. Okay.
No problem. Where were we? We were talking
You
about
shared about how quality time with your parents, with your loved one at the end.
yeah, just enjoying the time where we don't have so much fucking things on our mind, man. Like enjoying the time when we're like not parents or not paying bills and rent and all this craziness that happens as life evolves because
Mm,
we just stack on more and more and more and we're just stacking on more things and more items and more bills and more things and just enjoy that, man. That liberty of brain is so beautiful.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah,
let's keep it light. Let's
yeah.
keep it light. This is going to be kind of a yes or no, left or right kind of question. Rapid question. Ready?
Hit me.
Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
Morocco or Montreal?
Both.
Design or
How did it?
yeah, design or formulation?
Eesh. Design stronger.
Yeah. Early
Yeah.
mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Powerful website or powerful social media page?
Website.
Hmm. One book that changed your mindset.
Oof. 48 Laws of Power.
A quote you live by.
Hmm. Hmm. It is what it is.
Karate chop
Yeah,
chop.
I'm not karate chop chop.
Go
Achieve
to
your high self.
go
No,
to
no, no. Achieve.
superfood or wellness rituals.
Morning meditation. Super key. Yeah.
One piece every man should have in his wardrobe in terms of clothing.
Black leather biker jacket.
Black leather biker jacket.
100%. Or
Yeah,
some call it a perfecto.
perfecto. A brand you
Yeah.
admire right now. Any brand.
Mm, easy, clean, Uniqlo.
Uniqlo. Okay.
Simple. Yeah. Simple, easy, good quality pieces.
One lesson fatherhood taught you.
Unconditional love.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You
yeah,
know it.
yeah, yeah. Oh
You
man,
know
I'm
it,
stepping right
bro.
into it. Yeah.
I'll get teary-eyed just thinking about
Me
it, to be
too.
honest with
Me
you.
too. It just brought
You
me a lot of
sissy girl.
emotion.
It's too beautiful.
It
It's
really
so
is.
hard, but it's so beautiful. I
Yeah.
lately my past week, I go through these phases of like I get these thoughts in my mind and I can't shake them off for like a good week or two. And my last week has just been how challenging parenthood is, how like crazy challenging it is. And not just parenthood, but being a father. And like I don't know if you got prepped for the role. I feel like I wasn't properly prepped for it. Because like at no point did my father ever sit me down and say, when you're a father, you're gonna have to make these kind of decisions. You're gonna have to make sure you're financially okay. You're gonna have to make sure you're in a good state of mind when you see your daughter. And nobody prepped me for this, man.
Mm-hmm.
There was no training. There was no book. You know, and I find it to be super challenging, super super challenging, and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. But if we were to summarize everything that we spoke about, bro, I would tell you that everything that is super challenging, whether it's moving your family, starting a business, dealing with lawyers, all this stuff is like the yin and the yang. It has such an extreme beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And the harder things will be, the more beautiful they will be at the same time. It's the polarity,
Yeah. Wow. I love
you
that.
know?
Yeah. I'm glad we went in. I'm glad we went a little extra on that
To that.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. There's more rapid questions. Okay, hit me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have five more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Favorite place to recharge?
Nature, the beach, forest.
Beach forest?
Beach or forest, yeah. Love beach or
Okay.
forest. Put me there whenever I'm stressed. I'll heal.
Uh, do you go to Montreal sometime? Like right now is incredible. Do you sometime take
I
that moment?
should. I should, but at that point I just drive 1 hour up north and I'll get some spring water and
I
get
see.
the real forest, like not connected to so many signals around me, you
I
know?
see. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what's your morning routine essential?
Okay, used to be super hardcore during my get into Alchemy era. But now I don't have time. I have a baby. so I have to prime myself in a matter of 12 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, coconut oil pull, lemon water, meditation, attack. That's it.
Boom. Got it.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
one thing most people get wrong about branding? It's a little bigger question, but one thing.
I would say it's the symphony concept, bro.
Mm,
It all has to blend into something else. Branding is not unilateral, bro. Branding
mm,
is like, it's like so many arms to it, man.
mm,
Yeah. Don't think that a cool bag is what you need. Don't think that a cool brand like Hip and Bone is because it's a cool picture and a cool model like Derek is what you need. No, the materials have to be cool. The fit has to be good. Packaging, price, branding is everything. Is not small.
mm. Beautiful. One more. Carlos, finish this sentence. Life is about.
Challenges and overcoming them.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how you end a podcast.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
I
guys.
appreciate you having me, my bro.
Man, thanks for showing up. I know you seemed like you had a pretty big week. Hopefully, this moment, just kind of grounded you a little bit, and I appreciate you coming. For those who are interested in Alchemy, Hip and Bone, or would just like to connect with you, can you just share your social handles here and
Yeah,
Alchemy socials? Yeah,
for sure, for sure. My personal is gonna be Carlitos MTL, and Alchemy's Alchemy Elements at Alchemy Elements. Our website is alchemyelements.com. And what I'm
okay.
actually going to do today
Yep.
is I'm going to set up a promo code for anybody listening to this to use the code The International Souls,
There you
which is
go.
going to be Eric's code, and you'll get 20%
amazing.
off anything you order on
Love it.
Alchemy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, this is a surprise.
All
Yeah, appreciate
right.
that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
thank you so much,
yeah,
brother.
thanks for having me, and let's continue connecting outside of this conversation, which we
Yeah,
should.
please. Yep.
And as men, we should have our little man circle,
Yep.
which
Yep.
I've always enjoyed having those conversations with you, man.
Yeah.
So thanks
Same.
for having me.
All blessings, bro.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers. Ciao, my brother. Bye.
Thanks. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to follow the show and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us to grow and keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening.